Hey, this is Qesankh Kheperu for New World Dimensions. I'm standing outside here a courthouse, and no, I'm not in any trouble, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the law for a second. Now, as you know, we're taught in school at the universities that the law dates back to the Greek culture, along with all the sciences and all the philosophy, and that's just simply not true. But let me expand on that a bit. In ancient Kemetic culture, ancient Egypt, law was symbolized by the goddess Maat, goddess of truth, justice, and love. And one of the first things that the Kemetic scriptures talk about, that when our universe came into being, the first thing that came into place was Ma'at, the foundation, the law, which governed everything. And we're not talking about man's law, about, you shouldn't steal, and the law says don't jaywalk, and so on and so forth. But what we're talking about is a law that governs the universe. Now, one of the things that quantum mechanics talks about is that when we go back to the Big Bang Theory, there is the singularity, and that's the point when everything was created and came from that point. But going to referencing Einstein's theory of relativity, when we talk about E equals mc squared, when we try to apply that pre-Big Bang, we find out that his theory of relativity breaks down. It doesn't hold water. So what that tells us, and this is very important, is that the laws governing this universe don't apply before the Big Bang Theory, and they only are applicable to this universe, which is only part of many universes, hence the multiverse theory. So each universe is containing its own law and way of operating, and our laws, including Einstein's theory of relativity, operate within this confined bubble of our universe. So if you were to travel to another universe, you would find the different laws, and you actually couldn't exist in that universe because your form and function only applies here. And again, that's a principle of Ma'at, is that when you want to look at and understand truth, you have to understand the form and how it relates to the function. We can't look at things self-contained or and not as they relate to the world and the universe around us. The same example as a fish can only breathe in water; it's not meant to be on land. That's a form and function relationship, and that's a principle of Ma'at. So again, when we look at the Big Bang Theory, the origin of this universe and the singularity, we find out that the principles that govern this universe break down at the singularity, and you can't go past that simply because that those laws are only relevant to this universe, and they're not an inherent principle of all universes, all pre-Big Bang. So I hope that wasn't too convoluted for you to get. And I hope that makes sense. And understanding that we have to give praise and thanks to the goddess Ma'at, because one of the things that we must understand is that when we talk about the law and talk about applying the law, there must be context. There must be something that's relational that we can look at that can basically define it. In other words, what makes good is that you can only define good in context to what is bad. So that's the principle of Ma'at, the form-function relationship, and the law. And not as though we're taught, again, from Western civilization, that the law is separate and there's no context to it, and there's no relationship to it to other things in the world, and that's simply not true. And that's how you get into a whole host of problems when you look at something that's not in context and not in a relational perspective. So this is Qesankh Kheperu with New World Dimensions, and that's all for now.